It is way too cold to go drive anything this week. I'm going back to the workshop. Hey, thanks for checking back into our Traxxas TRX-4 Bronco project build. And as I mentioned in the last video, we are going to talk about electronics today. And there are a couple of options if you do want to go and swap out the servo. Now, the TRX-4 kit, it does come with a full electronics package. So we've got the TQI radio system here. We've got the shift servos. We've already installed one into the vehicle in a prior video here. Receiver, of course, the XL5 HV speed controller. Motor comes with it. We've already installed that. And there are some options. That's what this whole project's about, showing you guys the options that are available. And there are a number of options for servos now from Traxxas. These are recently released. They've been out for a little bit, but they're still pretty new. So I want to talk to you guys about these and, what's right for your particular project build. I also have their 2075R servo. I want to talk to you guys about that. But anyway, the servo that comes with it is the 2075X. It's a standard high torque servo, metal gear. I believe it's 125 ounce-inches of torque to it. So it gets the job done. It's a decent servo for building this kit. You know, what other standard servos are out there, some of them are 60 ounce-inches, some of them are 90 ounce-inches. So this is a decent servo to start off with. But if you want maximum performance out of your vehicle, if you know you're going to do some hardcore crawling, you want to look for an upgrade. Now, before I get into those upgrades, I just want to tell you about the 2075R. So, if you're looking at servos, maybe you have a kit and you're looking for a servo to put in it, and want to know what the difference between these two are. The R is the speed servo, the high speed servo. So this is probably more oriented towards a Fortec or a Bandit or something like that. I mean, it will work, but it's not the optimum servo for that. So I just wanted to make you aware that when you are looking at your servo options. So we aren't going to install the 2075X in ours. We're going to choose between one of these two servos right here. And, as I said, these are pretty new from Traxxas. They're high torque, they're waterproof, metal gear, and they have a lot of torque to them. And when you're driving a crawler or trail truck, you want that torque. So these are your two options, the 400, which is 400 ounce-inches of torque, or the 330, which you guessed it is 330 ounce-inches of torque. So you could go and drop these servos right in. They will work. However, they're not going to work to their optimum performance without a BEC. These servos require a bit more power to get that torque out of them. The BEC is a battery eliminator circuit. And what it does is it provides the power to like a high torque servo that needs extra power to run it. So this is a pretty complete kit here from Traxxas. Let me just dump it out. I'll show you and we'll get back to the servos here in a minute. Okay, so in the BEC kit here, we've got the BEC itself, and as you can see, it's all pre-wired for you. We've got a new receiver cover, and that just offsets the height because that BEC is going to go in the receiver box. We've got a Y harness in case you need to split power for another accessory. A new seal for the radio box, some foam padding, grease to help seal up the wires, and some extra hardware and zip ties. And of course, an instruction manual to help you get through the installation. So the BEC is going to provide the power to these servos. So these servos are pretty much a direct drop-in. No modifications are needed. Even the servo horn will fit right on here. Now Traxxas does go and recommend that you get their optional metal servo horn for it. I forgot to grab that, so we're just going to use the plastic right now. But basically, you could choose between these two depending on what you think you're going to do, what you think your vehicle is going to need. Again, if you're going to do some real hardcore stuff out there, really challenging your truck, you might want to go with the 400. If you feel that you're going to just do some general crawling, might get into some hardcore stuff here and there, the 330 might be just good enough for you. And that's what we're going to use. We're actually going to use the 330 in there. I think this is going to be just fine for what I'm doing it for. Plus, I have a Traxxas UDR, so I want to go and use this for that particular vehicle. All right, guys, I'm going to clean up this mess here, and then I'm going to go on to show you some of the electronics installation. All right, I've got everything sorted out here, and I even went back through the manual, the factory manual, the lifted kit manual, even the instructions for the BEC, because I wanted to make sure I've got everything together that I'm going to need. And it looks like up next, I'm going to go and put the steering servo in. So again, I'm going to use the 330, and that actually gets mounted from the bottom now with the lift kit mount, whereas with the stock standard location, the servo mounts from the top. So that's a little bit different, so I'm going to get that in there. Then I'm going to move on to the T-lock servos, just get that in. That's just standard installation. And then I'll move forward and put the receiver in. And once I get to that point, I'm going to stop, show you guys what's going on, because I want to show you how that BEC is installed. Pretty much all of my electronics are in there now. I've got all the wires routed nice and neat. Now here is a tip for you guys. Make sure you follow the wiring diagrams in the instruction manuals. There are just little areas to go and kind of route the wires through that will make everything much nicer, much neater. And, you know, I really suggest taking the time to do that, because you don't want wires to flop around, maybe get caught up on something and possibly wear through and maybe even short out. So just take the time, route everything nice and neat. So the servo's in there. I didn't mention that before, but the speed controller's in there, and my shift servos are in. Everything's wired over to the receiver here. I've two-side taped that in. Now it's time to go in and put in the BEC. And it's going to go right on top of the receiver right here with some two-sided tape. And they even give you a Y harness, because if you want to power some other accessories, you're going to need that. We're going to need that since we're going to put LED lights throughout this kit. So I'm going to go and put that in right now. I'm going to show you how it looks wired up. And there it is, the BEC stuck down to the top of the receiver with the foam pad that they give you. And here's that wire just kind of chilling right now. I'm going to go and route this nice and neat through here. But, you know, it looks like a lot. It looks like a lot of wires to deal with and stuff, but it's really all plug in and play. That's what's really nice about it. But do go ahead and take the time to make sure the wires are routed nice and neat. All right, let me button the rest of this up. And there you have it, guys. The electronics installation is complete and everything looks awesome. And like I said before, it's plug in and play. Don't get scared off by electronics. This is super easy to get going. You know, putting in a high torque servo, powering it properly, then just routing the wires nice and neat. I mean, everything just worked out really well, nice and smooth on this kit. And that just leaves installing the axles on the truck, the links, and the shocks. So that's what the next video is going to be about in this series. We'll see you back then.